Hello everyone, and welcome back to my Let's Play series, Can I Beat Ocarina of Time Before the Remake releases? I am S.A.N, and when we last left off, we started the game, finished up in Kokiri Forest with the Deku Tree, made it to Hyrule Castle, met Zelda, had a lot of exposition about the game, and made it to Goron City, here, which is where we left off last time. So we're going to be continuing with that today, and our next goal is to find the next spiritual stone, the Goron's Ruby, which is just in that little, normally kept, just a little outcropping past there. It's covered by the A button at the moment on the screen. And yeah, there it is, out there. Oops. I'm still getting used to using the C stick as just not looking around. So it's out that way. It's not there anymore. So we need to go track it down. And we're gonna get started on that here in a moment as soon as I get back up there. Yeah, these are bomb flowers, by the way. The original bomb flowers, because this is the first game bomb flowers ever debuted in. Prior to this, it was just bombs. Alright, just narrow little balancing across this tightrope here. Yeah, so this is where the Goron Ruby normally is. Let's see if this Goron can give us a hint. You're out here. I mean, I imagine you Gorons have a harder time crossing that tightrope than I would. Well, we didn't come to eat it, but we do need it. No, we need it. Okay. Yeah, we're looking for the Goron's Ruby. Okay, apparently, I really hope he didn't eat it. It's already gone. Okay, Big Brother took it. He always said everyone is after that redstone. Up in his room saying, I will wait in here for the royal family's messenger. Okay, that sounds like that's where we need to go. Alright, so we have to go talk to the boss of the Gorons. He's down this way. And he's in a foul mood, so he's locked himself in his room. So he's waiting a royal messenger, which means we need to play Zelda's Lullaby here. Because that proves our connection to the royal family. Here we go. So this is Darunia, the boss of the Gorons, essentially. Yeah, we're not exactly what he was expecting. In all honesty, he is the first person to raise issue with the fact that a 10-year-old is setting out to save Hyrule. That is something that you think other people will bring up at this point. Yeah, he's in a foul mood because, yeah. Yeah, why are you in a foul mood? Yeah, Dadongo's Cavern is infested with monsters. Poor harvest. And the starvation issue, yeah, the food shortage. But he's too proud to ask for help. Anyway, the reason I went back to the Lost Woods to get Saria's song was because, and don't ask me why this is the case, but it calms him down and gets him out of his depression, so we need it here to progress the game. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not sure why this is the case. But as you can see, it works. Well, it is meant to be a magical song, so maybe that's the magical effect of it. And allowing us to talk to Saria over in the distance. He's really enjoying this. Alright, well that worked. Yeah, we saw. You were just introduced us earlier. Yeah, so... yeah, we kinda need the Goron's Ruby. Yeah, the Spiritual Stone of Fire. 2? Oh, someone else has been here asking for it? Yeah, I think last time we found out that Ganondorf has been here and he's used his magic to seal the entrance to Dadongo's Cavern. And apparently we have to sort their problems if we want the ruby. Alright, well, that's fine. I was going to give us something anyway. Because we need it to be able to pick up bomb flowers. And here we got the power bracelet. Sorry, Goron's bracelet, which is essentially the power bracelet from other Zelda games. We now are strong enough to lift bomb flowers, which is necessary to get into Dadongo's Cavern. So we're going to go head there now. This passageway is a shortcut back to the Lost Woods, which is what you're meant to use to go get Sorry Song if you came here and got stuck. I knew about it in advance, however, and just decided to save time and just go get the song already, so we don't need to use it. It is still a shortcut back to the Lost Woods and a shortcut back here for future if you ever need to use it. Which, in all honesty, is probably not going to happen. Oh, Navi wants something. Yes, I know we need to go inside there. Yeah, there's the hint. You need to use a bomb flower to have it. Figure out already, but first I want to blow a hole through some of these walls with bomb flowers. There's nothing really important back here, but this is kind of a bit of foreshadowing in this game. Yeah, alright, the next one's really far away, so I have to run. There it is. And one more. There we go. Alright, so despite this guy being a big Goron, he is not the big Goron. He's working on a little side project, but we have to wait 5 or 6 years for it to be ready. I wonder what the odds are of that actually happening, us being able to pass 5 or 6 years in-game and, you know, wait for something to happen. We've only been playing this game a couple in-game days so far for that, or maybe, like, not even a week yet. Oh well, I'm sure something will come of that at some point. Alright, that's pretty much all we need to do in Goron City at the moment. Let's head out. Alright, so we need to go this path here on to the right because it leads to an area with a bomb flower that we can lift up and then toss down there. Oh, that's gonna miss. But you see, this is what we have to do. We have to pick up the bomb flower and throw it down there to destroy the boulder blocking the passageway. I think I'll throw it a bit further here. Oh, okay, that might be good or might be just a bit too far. We'll find out in a moment. There we go. Now we can get inside Dadongo's Cavern. Why did none of the Gorons think of that? I think this is yet more proof of the fact that, well, why Goron rhymes with moron. Because good grief, am I ever not impressed with the Gorons in some of these games. I mean, this guy was trying to roll down there with a bomb flower. All you have to do is pick up and throw it. Well, they do often say sometimes the simplest solutions will elude people. I'm not gonna bother with the Tektites. Let's just go inside. That little patch of soil there, that will be explained later. Alright, so this is the next dungeon, the Dadongo's Cavern. It's a bit bigger than inside the Deku Tree, but not much more complicated. It is a bit more dangerous. There's some more powerful enemies in here, and there's lava pits that we have to avoid. But we are still a little ways away from the harder dungeons of this game. The first few are, honestly, pretty straightforward, which is why I was able to get through inside the Deku Tree in about half an hour, and this one's probably not going to take much longer. Here we have a Beamos. It doesn't like smoke getting its eyes. Oh, okay, the camera there is already The camera's not always your friend in this game. That's the issue with some of the older 3D Zelda games. The camera was sometimes an issue. So, Beamoses require bombs or bomb flowers to destroy them, but we also can just avoid them. For instance, here, watch. There we go. That takes care of that Beamos. We need to trigger that switch up there. Which means we have to go around to get to it. Alright. I could go the other way, but I need to trigger that switch to open that door on the left side of this dungeon, of this room, so in all honesty, it makes more sense to go this way first. Wait, what? How did I... Whoa. Okay, again. Controls and camera switching at the same time did not work out. How did I miss that? Alright, let's just throw it a bit closer this time. Pretty sure there's not much in here. Oh yeah, it's just a speaking stone thing. Alright, this one blow up. That one was really close. How did this one miss? What's the blast radius on these bombs? That is pathetic. So here are some Dadongos. Baby ones, of course. They're not all that difficult at all. You have to stab them with the sword. Unfortunately, they explode, which means they damage you when they die if you're too close to them. Okay, there's another bomb wall, which I'm probably going to forget all about. I don't think I can bring a bomb flower that distance, so we would have to come back when we have bombs. However, I'm probably just going to forget about it. I'm also almost certainly going to forget about the one in the Deku tree. Alright, this blue switch is the first one of these we've encountered. This switch requires something to be basically heavy to be placed on it to keep it pressed down. We can step on it ourselves, but as soon as we step off, the switch will untrigger and the door will close. So we need to weigh it down with something like this inactive Armos statue. Keys. They're no problem, just quick shots with the slingshot and they're gone. Alright. Not really a mini-boss, but kind of a challenge, I guess. Here we have the first appearance of the Lizalfos. And I really like how Link turtles with the Hylian shield. I really like that little defense there. So as you can see, we have to fight. There's two of them. They fight us individually for some reason. Maybe it was too complicated to have them both attack at once. Yeah, this was quite early on in some of the more complex aspects of Zelda games. So we have to take both out, and they'll attack us one at a time. And the strategy really is just guard and then stab, guard and then stab, and they can take them out. Yeah, it takes 6 hits to defeat. As you can see, they will naturally flee until the other one is defeated, and then you just have to take this right too. As you can see, Lizalfos are not that difficult. Honestly, they become much harder enemies as the games progress. Alright, bombable wall there. There's a couple of golden Skulltulas in here, I remember that. I cannot remember exactly where they are specifically. So I should probably check. In here, oh, it's just a business scrub. Alright. So if you defeat them, they'll sell you some stuff, but it's never worth it. This is a full-grown Dadongo here. They're far more dangerous, but they're still weak to bombs. They also breathe fire. If you don't want to use bombs or bomb flowers to defeat them, you can also just stab their tail with the sword. However, it's safer taking out a distance. Easier too, because the bombs do more damage. They also explode when they die. There's a couple more in here, and we need to clear this room out first. There we go. There's another one. Yeah, so here's the other way you can take it out just by stabbing him. It will spin around if you do that, and then try and do fire. Right, that's 2 down. There's 1 more over there. The problem is I do not think I can bring the bomb flowers that great of a distance, so we're gonna have to defeat this one with just our tiny little dagger. Alright, there we go. Stab. And then back up so the tail doesn't hit us, because that's another thing that can happen. Avoid the fiery breath, and there we go. Now we need to use a Deku Stick to light all the braziers in this room, because it's a quite common puzzle in Zelda games. Alright, there's the lit torch. Yeah, I should get used to this. A lot of lighting brazier puzzles in this game. Alright, and now we can progress through the door. And here's that switch I mentioned earlier. Alright, so now that we trigger this switch, it opens that door across the way there. Which is where we need to go. Just avoid the BMOS. And we have to wait for the elevator to go back up. Alright. There we go. Now, bomb this wall, because I believe the map is behind it. And I know these early dungeons are not very complicated, but I just like having access to the map and the compass, just so I can navigate. Again, for the smaller ones, like these early ones, it does not really matter, I suppose, but still, it's nice to get. Here's something they can cut down on really in the remake, is all this basically instruction on how to use the map. Take out this BMOS. And over here we have another business scrub. You can attack them and defeat them if you want, but they basically have, like, they never have anything very useful, and it's almost always at an exorbitant price. Like, I think some of them sell Deku shields or Deku nuts, Deku sticks, for a ridiculously high price that is just unnecessary because there's lots of other shops. I know money is not really an issue in this game, but still. Ah, here we go. Watch this, you're gonna enjoy this. We're gonna set off a chain reaction of explosions here. Which is somehow going to lower the staircase. I'm not quite sure how that's meant to work, but it does. First, let's go through this door, though. And here we have an Armos, an active one now. So the best we can do here is throw a bomb at it, which will damage it. Also, we can't use Navi, his little identify ability, when you're holding something like a bomb, apparently. And this is the compass, I believe. There we go. I see locations of treasure chests and where the boss is. Alright, let's proceed up the stairs now. Oh, little Link is struggling with the staircases. It's actually been a long time since we've had a Zelda game featuring, you know, a younger version of Link. I mean, both of the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom featured, I guess technically adult Link for all intents and purposes. Not really teenage Link, or young adult Link either, because he's technically supposed to be over 100 years old, because he spent 100 years in stasis in Breath of the Wild, the intro for that. And technically, I think people have said Tears of the Kingdom is set 7 years after the first game, so he's definitely, he and Zelda are both definitely adults at that point. And I don't know about Echoes of Wisdom because it's hard to tell with the, you know, the chibi art style. But again, I'm fairly certain that that still might have been an older Link, maybe? Maybe Nintendo felt it was finally time to stop sending 10-year-olds on missions to save the world. Or maybe it's just because they realized that the fan base has kind of grown up with Link a little bit, so maybe it's time to age him up a bit. Alright, here's an inactive Armos. We need to move it aside to get to this ladder. Which leads to the switch, which lets us open this door. Well, doors, I suppose, but we've already been through one of them. And there really is nothing else in here. Alright, so this is the main chamber. However, we're actually above it now. Also, we have these fire keys to worry about now. They're not too big of a deal. They're a bit more aggressive than the standard keys, and if they hit you, they set you on fire and the flames go out. Alright, so now we need to go through here. We come to a kind of a small maze section. With these blade traps, which are kind of annoying. And now Navi's going to explain to us that if we hold down Z targeting, we'll continue to look in the direction we're facing, and we can use that to move to the side and stuff. It's kind of useful, but I've never really found it all that important. Alright, so we have to move this block out to get up to that ladder. There is a space behind it. Just a heart there, just in case you took damage getting here, which I did. Alright, here's one of the trickier parts of this dungeon, actually. Not just getting onto this ladder, but we need to blow up this little bomb of a wall section. And as you can see, just looking at it, there's not a lot of space to place a bomb flower there. And there's not a lot of space for me to get up on. Okay, let's just move the block back into position a bit so I can just climb up. Yeah, so there's a very narrow ledge and a very narrow gap between that ledge and the bomble wall. Alright, this is probably just rupees, I imagine. Yeah. Oh, see what I mean? It's very easy for the bomb flower to just fall off. This is probably going to take a few tries. Alright, and oh no, that's not good. I literally just jumped. Oh good, I can get back in very easily. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Alright, there we go. Nope. This is the hardest thing we've done so far this game. This is harder than fighting Goma. Alright, let's just see. Maybe we can time it a bit so that it explodes in midair, and no. That is risky, but we might need to do that. Alright, attempt number 5, I believe. And there we go. Oh, I just managed to actually position it correctly this time. Alright, there we go. Alright, we need to hit this ice switch with the slingshot to disperse the wall of fire. And now we can proceed. Yeah, I'm just checking here because there's another one of these later on. Alright, avoid the baby Dadongos and just keep going to this door. And now we have, well, kind of a rematch with the Zalfos, because I'm pretty sure it's 2 different ones, but now we can fight 2 more of them. And they're kind of what passes for a mini-boss in this dungeon. Right, now we have to fight the other one. It's nice when the enemy comes to you. Yeah, they're not very competent enemies in this game. Their attack pattern is very predictable, and also I think they keep dropping their sword. There we go. Going down. Yo, I think a Majora's Mask, not Ocarina of Time. Maybe it's just the fact they put the sword away. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell when it's all low-res polygons. There was an upgraded version, Majora's Mask was an upgraded version of the Zelda called the Dinophos, which breathes fire. And it is actually the mini-boss in the first dungeon in that game. Ah. This is the section I told you about, 2 rings of fire. We need to hit that one to dispel it first. And then we leap over. And now we hit this one with the slingshot to dispel the second, and then proceed. Alright, this chest is very important. It contains this dungeon's item, because this is still following the classic dungeon item formula from A Link to the Past and the first Zelda game. In this case, it's the bomb bag. So we no longer are reliant on bomb flowers everywhere. We can now just carry bombs ourselves. 20 of them, in fact, which is more than you usually start with in a Zelda game. Alright, so we now have bombs. And I could just proceed. However, I want to see what's through here because I'm fairly certain we're getting close to where some of the golden Skulltulas are. And I would like to get the wallet upgrade. No, I was wrong. It's just a pair of business scrubs. And there's nothing else in here, right? No, there isn't. Alright. That's fine. The only downside is now, in order to get back up there, we have to go through that little loop again. Fortunately, all the hard parts have been taken care of, so we just need to loop now. Yeah, the traps do reset, unfortunately. Alright. Oh, by the way, that little platform out there in the edge there, the little narrow path, leads to above the area where we fought the previous Lizalfos. That's the same room down there. Alright. Now, we can proceed. So once again, we're in the room that's above the main entrance, and this will extend the elevator up to where we are now. Alright, so here's this little poem here, or inscription, is going to tell us how to proceed. Yeah. And Navi is going to explain that the platform is now going higher than it was before, just in case you could not, because this game was intended for children. Yeah, that's something that can be cut down a little bit. I actually like Navi. I'm one of the people who doesn't find her annoying, but it really does show the fact that this game was intended for young children. So now we need to drop bombs into the skull of this Dadongo to turn its eyes red. Oh dear! To open the pathway forward. It might be easier from this side if I just drop it down. There we go. That should be good. Perfect! But there's a door, bomb wall here, so let's bomb it and see what's through it. Okay. And that's money. Ah, my wallet's already full, and it will remain full until we can, you know, get the upgrade. To be perfectly honest, there are not a lot of uses for money in this game anyway. Alright, I could technically just jump down and then just take damage, but I prefer not to. Alright, so we need to proceed through here now. Believe it or not, we are actually almost through this dungeon. This is the last area before the boss, as you can see right there on the map. Oh, another fire piece. No, that's fine. Alright. We need to take this long, winding path to this large room with many, many fire keys in it. Right, there we go. Fortunately, they're no match for the slingshot. Alright. Oh dear, okay. Actually, I should probably go through this bombable wall first. Oh, there we go. I'm not sure if I need bombs, so I'm not too concerned. Alright, through here is the gold Skulltula. I thought if you actually hit them with your sword, they woke up. Apparently not. Alright. Should just be able to drop it in its path, and it should wander over to it into the explosion. There we go. Yeah, the bomb houses are not difficult at all to deal with. I got 5 bombs out of that. That's nice. Alright, so destroyed another one. How many does that give me now? 8, I think? I need 10 for the wallet upgrade, so hopefully I'll be able to get the last few here. I'll definitely be able to get this video, if nothing else, because I know there's more coming up in the next area. Alright, technically all this purpose is just to open up the pathway here back down. It's not important. And here's a fairy in this urn if you need one, but I already have one, and I have my bottle full of milk, so I'm good for the moment. These dungeons have not been combatively difficult so far. Actually, they haven't been very difficult at all. Alright, now we need to move this block into the center there. In the center there, because there's a switch in that hole. But first, we should probably take care of these keys. Alright, there we go. Alright, one down. And should just be able to, yeah, just hit. There we go. Alright, now we need to get behind it to push it the rest of the way. And then we will open up the pathway forward into the area where the boss is. I hope we can handle it. Maybe it's actually harder than Goma was. Alright, slight deviation from the usual pattern here for boss fights. We have to actually bomb open this section of the floor, basically, to fall down into the actual boss room itself, as opposed to just taking the door through. They use this a few times in Ocarina of Time, actually. But this is the first time. Alright, and here we have the boss of Dadongo's Cavern, which, unsurprisingly, is a really big Dadongo. King Dadongo, to be precise. The Infernal Dinosaur. Yeah, eats anything. Alright. For those of you who are long-term fans of the Zelda franchise, you should know that Dodongos have a weakness to bombs. So we have to get it to swallow a bomb and breathe into its fire breath attack. And then the bomb will explode, stunning it, and then we can hit it. Kind of similar to the Froxes in Tears of the Kingdom. Alright, throw another one in. And then hit it. And then skirt the side here of this lava pool so it doesn't roll over with its rolling attack. And then it's easier to just follow it around a little bit here. This room isn't very big. Nope, a bit far away this time. Still should be fine. And yes, this boss is not much harder than Goma. It just has, I guess, a bit more health, or is honestly the mechanic just delays you defeating it a bit more. Because I guess the bomb damages it and then you stab it. So it's hard to see exactly how much health it technically has compared to Goma, but... I mean, that was a 2-minute boss fight. These bosses are not putting up a good fight so far. And down it goes. Oh no, not the lava! And that is why dinosaurs went extinct. They ate too many bombs. Alright. Park container time. And let's get out of here. Hopefully I can get some more heart pieces as well. Alright. We're out of here. Alright, so we're back outside again, and Darunia wastes no time coming to congratulate us. Yes, we recognize you. You don't have to keep introducing yourself. You're the only one of these Gorons who actually looks different than all the others. Okay, apparently they're going to go have a feast inside Dadongo's cavern now that we've killed the King Dadongo. Yeah, it was a nice start. Yeah, it would make a nice chapter in our story, yes. He's the one Goron who actually has some intelligence and wisdom. Yeah, well, honestly, he seems to be causing some problems. I mean, that's an ultimatum right there. Give me the spiritual stone, and only then will I open the cave for you. Well, yes, I did. I also need the stone, though. So, in a sense, it was kind of the same deal. Alright. Good, we can skip the big ceremony. I dislike those, and we just get the Goron's ruby now. Alright, 2 down, 1 to go. So you obtained the Goron's ruby, the spiritual stone of fire. Yeah, you don't know what he means by sworn brothers, but you've collected 2 of the spiritual stones. One more to find. And because we have plenty of time left in the video, we're probably going to get to that one too. Okay, we should apparently go see the Great Fairy on top of Death Mountain. I mean, I don't know if I want to claim something called Death Mountain. However, we should go visit the Great Fairy. Uh-oh. No, no, no! I do not trust these guys to be able to control their strength and not just, like, snap us in half. Run, Link, run! Alright, now that that's over with. Alright, I'm not going to leave just yet because I do want to go to Death Mountain and get the fairy. However, there are some bombable walls over across Death Mountain here, the trail. And at least one of them has a golden skull too. I think it's this one. It is, yes. Alright, so let's kill it, but now I need to be able to get up to it. Can I do backflips to get to it? Or do I have to come back once I get the boomerang or something? No, okay. Jump attack? No. No, I can't backflip towards it either. It'd be so much easier if I could just climb, if the wall was climbable, but I did not. Oh, never mind, it is! Where's the climbable texture? Where are the... That's not what they look like normally. I guess they just made this one climbable just so you can get it right away. I think I should be 9. That should be 9 by my count. Okay, we need 1 more. That's fine. There's plenty of places left to get one. Alright, now there's a heart piece up there which we cannot collect until later, unfortunately. There's a lot of that in this game. That's why I still only have 5 hearts, despite the fact you can usually get more at this point in Zelda games. Alright, there's another bomb a wall right here, and I want to avoid getting hit this time. There we go. And bomb the wall, treasure chest. Okay, that's probably just money. So that can wait because I'm full up on rupees at this point. Alright, time to head up Death Mountain Trail. Alright, we can bomb these rocks. We have to just go forward anyway. We get rupees for doing it, for the most part. But as I said, we are full, so we cannot fit any more rupees into our wallet. One of the later games, I think it might have been Twilight Princess, was if you opened your treasure chest and your wallet was full, it said, but you can't fit in your wallet right now, so let's put it back. Like, kind of funny at the time, but it does make sense, because so you can come back once your wallet has room in it. Alright, this little area here has this cow in it. By the way, if you ever want lawn milk, just play a bonus song to the cows, and they'll produce some for you, and you can put it in your bottle. Nice little tip if you want to save on money for potions. Alright, this next section is a lot more dangerous than it actually seems, because Death Mountain is going to erupt, and this is what we needed the shield for, believe it or not. Because this little turtle formation the Link does here with the shield protects him from all the flaming, fiery, falling rocks. And now we proceed, and then it's basically just a pattern, basically, just an interval. Yeah. Fortunately, again, with the Highland Shield, we just do this little turtle maneuver, and we're fine. Could you imagine doing this without that? That would probably not be fun. It would probably just be easier to roll through. To be fair, we could probably try doing that ourselves, but this is safer. Besides, we're almost through now. Alright. One more Skulltula down. Not gold ones, unfortunately, but, well, we can't have everything. So we have to climb up this wall to get to the Great Fairy. Yep, we need to take care of the Skulltula first, otherwise it'll attack us. There we go. So, now we've reached the top of Death Mountain, which means Death Mountain is not that big in this game. Good, some more bombs. Alright. So here we have the first Great Fairy's Fountain. And the Triforce symbol there is a clue to have to play Zelda's Lullaby once again. Because it lets whoever lives here knows that we're allied with the royal family. And here we have the Great Fairy in a design which probably would not have been allowed in an E-rated game even back in the 90s, if it weren't the fact that, you know, everything here is low-res polygons, because, well, she is essentially wearing ivy over, I mean, very little. I mean, there's nothing else there. Almost everything's on display. So she's going to power us up a bit, just like Darunia said. Which basically amounts... She says it was giving us a sword technique. Basically, she's going to give us the spin attack, which we technically could already do. But now, because she's going to give us the magic meter, we can charge magic power into our spin attack to make it stronger. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I almost never use the spin attack in this game. It's much better in, A Link to the Past and the 2D ones. However, having the magic meter unlocks a whole bunch of options for us, and we need it anyway. Yeah, so... She also tells us that there's another Great Fairy's Fountain over by Hyrule Castle, which we can go visit. which we're going to do shortly. Alright, yeah. Also, she'll heal us whenever we are injured and come back. Oh yeah, the high lingering laughter is another thing that's a staple for the Great Fairies in this game. Alright, time to head out now. Alright, here we have the owl again, who's going to note the fact that we now have gotten a bit stronger thanks to the Great Fairy's magic. Still don't look like the hero who'll save Hyrule, at least not yet. Yes, well, we have a long ways to go. I mean, this is only Chapter 2. You can save some of your judgment a little bit until, you know, we get a bit further along. He's going to lend us a ride down the mountain, which we should take in spring, because we're basically done here. And we get a interesting first-person perspective of flying down Death Mountain. I wonder if I should have told that Goron there that he can stop trying rolling down the hill with bomb flowers. It keeps him out of trouble, I guess. Besides, I'm leaving. Who cares? So he drops us on the roof of this building here, which is just above the cuckoo pen. And we need to drop down here because there's this little... There you go. Secret passageway here that gets us in here, where the cow is, and a heart piece, which is our second one in the entire game. Don't worry, we'll be getting more of them, but I will admit that my knowledge of heart piece locations in Ocarina of Time is not as good as my knowledge in other Zelda games. Actually, while we're here, let's play the Sun Song to make it night, because I can grab us the 10th Skulltula we need to get the wallet upgrade. There we go. And it can only be claimed at night, I'm fairly certain. There we go. Run to this tree. As far as I know, these things can only be collected at night, but sometimes not. The tree ones are a little odd that way, that maybe I didn't have to, but it doesn't matter. I just wanted to guarantee it. Alright, that's 10. Let's get the wallet upgrade. As I said before, I am unsure if I'm going to be able to get any more of these, because I'm not really going out of my way to collect these. Like I said, this isn't really a speed run, but this is a challenge to see if I can beat the game before the remake releases, so I want to try and stay a little focused. I will be doing lots of side stuff, but not everything. Anyway, we now have the adult's wallet, which means we can now hold 200 rupees. Effectively more than doubling the amount we can carry. Alright, and with that, we can leave Kakariko Village for the time being. I want to head back towards Hyrule Castle, because, well, we were given a hint that there's another Great Fairy fountain there, so we should probably go visit. Alright. First, we will need to turn it back to day, because otherwise we're going to be attacked by Cell Children the entire trip. Also, we won't be able to get into Hyrule Castle. This game becomes so much easier once you have the Sun Song. Alright, so we can now head into Hyrule Castle, restock on our rupees supply, because we can now carry more of them. One thing else I've noticed in this game is it's just something I'm used to in later Zelda games, which the rupee icon there changes color. It does in Majora's Mask once you get the adult wallet. It does not do so here. It stays green. It will be blue if this is Majora's Mask, and in I went to the later ones as well, I think it changes color. I think that one always gives you 5 rupees. Alright, so just going to smash a bunch of rupees, pots here to replenish our rupees. I'll leave a timestamp. Oh, another gold Skulltula. I knew there was a few I was missing. I might put a timestamp in if you want to skip ahead. If not, you can just... Actually, you can just skip. I'm not going to do this too long. Alright, now that our wallet is full again, let's head towards Hyrule Castle. Actually, while we're here in the Market Square, there is one other thing I can showcase, which is the Happy Mask Shop, because that guard asked us to pick up a mask for him. So, I am definitely not getting too involved with this, the masks line, because it is not that big of a deal. I might do the trading sequence line, which is another thing that you could, side quest you can do at this point. At some point later in the future, but I don't want to really do too much with this mask one. However, I will do the first one just to showcase it off. So, we borrow the mask, we don't buy it. Then we sell it to someone, and then we bring back some of the money we got from that and give it to him. This is actually going to cause one slight problem for us, because my wallet is full, which means I'm actually going to be paying him the money, essentially. Basically, it translates to the same thing. But I'm not going to get anything out of this. I'll do it anyway just to showcase it, because I feel like I should. But like I said, it really doesn't go anywhere. And I'm not going to get too involved in the masks storyline. This is still meant to be a competition to see if I can beat the game before the remake releases. Some stuff is going to get cut out. Alright. Here's the next Great Fairy Fountain. So once again, play Zelda's Lullaby. Very easy to remember that one because it's essentially just a Triforce. And there's tons of Triforce symbols wherever you play it. Alright, it's time for our second encounter with Lady Godiva style Great Fairy. And this one's this one's even going with a like some sort of lounging seductive pose. I'm honestly impressed Nintendo got away with this. Then again, this was the 90s. People paid less attention to video games. And she's gonna teach us a magic spell that we can use with our newfound magic meter. Alright, so now we know Din's Fire, which some of you might be familiar with if any of you played Super Smash Bros., because that's one of Zelda's spells. Yeah, Din's Fire not only attacks, but also burns things. Thank you for explaining to me how fire works. Works, lady. So yeah, it's a big fireball that engulfs the area around you. It's primarily useful when you're surrounded by enemies, or very difficult to use enemies. It consumes a lot of magic, so I'm going to use it sparingly. But it will come in handy. Alright, now we can leave Hyrule Castle again. There's a lot of backtracking and back and forth in this game, I'm afraid. Which does kind of make the world feel a bit bigger, because it's not that big compared to other Zelda games. I honestly think it is actually smaller than A Link to the Past. It is hard to tell. This was one of the trade-offs with it being the first 3D Zelda game. There's a whole bunch of NPCs here, by the way, I'm just ignoring, but most of them are just, like, flavor stuff, so... Like I said, this is technically not a speed run, but it is meant to, well, you know, again, I'm kind of racing against an unknown release date at the moment, as of yet. There were rumors that the pre-order date was going to be August something, August 4th or something. But I think that's been disproven. Besides, it doesn't matter. Well, as I said, my goal is to try and beat this game before October because I want to do stuff for Halloween this year. Should work out fine, and I don't think the game's going to release before October. I'm actually fully expecting the game to come out sometime in November because that's when, well, it's close to Christmas. And also, the original game came out in November. So they might try and just sync the dates up, maybe, for the remake. I cannot remember if they did it for the Ocarina of Time 3D remake on the 3DS or not, but that's an idea, something I've been thinking about. Anyway, now that we're back here in Kakariko Village, we can sell this mask to this guy. Yeah, he thinks it's hilarious. Yeah, Keaton. Yeah, so he's gonna buy the mask off of us, and there we go. That's essentially how the mask storyline works. And, yeah, so, told 10 rupee mask, we bought it from us for 15 rupees, so we make a profit. But no, we don't, because my wallet is full. I mean, it's completely unimportant. Money is not difficult to come by in this game at all. So, it's not a big deal. Alright. Now, we should proceed with the actual main quest line now, I think. Alright, so now we need to start searching for the third and final spiritual stone. However, beforehand, I guess I can go complete this mask quest line thing, even though it's completely pointless. Well, apparently that's what Past Me did, because that's where we're heading. Oh well, it's not going to take any amount of time, really. Alright, here we go. So, let's give him 10 rupees. Yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly how he intends to stay in business like this. Anyway, now that that's taken care of, we can proceed with the main quest line again. But first, let's restock the 10 rupees. Yeah, that pot always seems to give a blue rupee. Alright, there we go. It takes no time at all to get the 10 rupees back. Alright, so... Alright, so now we can showcase something else that Saria's song does, which is allow us to communicate magically with Saria over great distances. This is kind of a similar purpose to what Navi serves, is she gives you hints on where to go next. So we're going to do that because, look, I know where we have to go next. But, yeah, let's just do that. The Spiritual Stone of Water. In fact, at some point, Navi will actually give you a hint to talk to Saria about this. There we go. So we have to go to King Zora to get the Spiritual Stone of Water from him. So we have to follow this river, essentially. The sun's about to set here. Sun song. See, the sun song makes playing this game so much simpler. Alright. And now from night to day. So this river here is where we're supposed to follow. Back to its source, which is Zora's domain. Which will lead us towards the next spiritual stone, the Zora Sapphire. And the third and final one we need. Alright, so now we've reached Zora's River, and we're going to need to blow up these rocks over there. But first, the owl wants to have a word. You just said we had a ways to go, like, 15 minutes ago. Yeah, so... he's telling us that we need to, yeah, prove the fact we're a messenger from the royal family yet again. We're used to that by this point. Alright, and now we need to blow up these rocks, as I mentioned. I'm gonna put a path through here. There's something about those rocks and the butterflies, I can't remember what they are exactly. Oh, this guy. This scam artist. Alright. This guy sells magic beans, which are useful in this game, in a very limited degree. So I'm gonna start buying. I'm gonna buy a few of them. In fact, I'm gonna buy as many as I can carry, or as I can afford at this point, because this guy is a gimmick. Every time you buy magic beans from him, he sells them one piece at a time. You basically, the price increases by 10 rupees, so he charges you more each time consecutively, as you'll see here in a moment. See, it's now going. See, it's not that popular yet, but now they're going up to 20 rupees a piece. And it'll go up to 30. And it'll go up to 40. And it'll go up to 50. It keeps getting more expensive the more you buy. The good news is, I can afford to get 5 of these now, which I think is all I'm going to need for the entirety of the game, because you do not need very many of them. Though I do find it kind of ironic, the first thing that Link does after getting an adult wallet is make a very immature financial decision to buy tons of magic beans. The main difference is, unlike the magic bean, well, similar to the magic beans in Jack and the Beanstalk, the original fairy tale, these actually are magic beans and they do have a use. I do not know exactly when I am going to go plant these beans, exactly. I haven't decided yet. I definitely didn't get to it in this video. I might do that next time. I might do it off camera. I haven't decided. I don't know if that breaks the spirit of the challenge, doing stuff off camera in this one, because I'm trying to beat the game before we get there. I know it's side stuff, and I'm not, you know, there are no rules to this challenge technically, just the ones I set for myself. So, we'll see. I might, depending on, I'll think about it before next time if it's worth it or not. Yeah, 50 rupees just for now. Yeah, we know, you charlatan. All right, there we go. That's all I can afford to take with me. Fortunately, I think it's all I'm going to need. As for, yeah, I'll have to come to a decision about the beans, because the magic beans are how we get access to some heart pieces. Some of the locations we can't even get to yet, so it doesn't really matter. But there's a few of them I can go to. There's technically one right there. Like, that's what that soil's for, by the way. I'm not entirely sure if we even need that one. I think we can get a heart piece coming up without it. Anyway. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, these magic jars are how you refill your magic meter. Just exactly the same as in A Link to the Past. More recent Zelda fans may not be aware of that because the magic meter hasn't shown up in a Zelda game since Wind Waker. No, I want the chicken, not the rock. Alright, this cuckoo is how we managed to get a heart piece, I'm pretty sure. It is a little difficult to do so. That's an Octorok, by the way. Yeah, there's a heart piece up there, and there's another one further ahead. So I should be able to get to probably both of them, but not sure if I managed to. I don't think I managed to get both of them, unfortunately, in this video, because I also want to try and get through the next dungeon. That's another thing. I might, if I miss a heart piece, I might go and get it off camera. Oh, I think I'm losing this cuckoo. Yeah, once it starts, eventually once it hits deep water, it'll just fly away. Or instead of drown. Alright, can I get to this little ledge back here without the cuckoo? Can I climb up? No, I think it's too high for him. So I need the cuckoo to get up to that. Right. I'll come back for the heart pieces. Let's proceed for now. Yeah, that's what I mean, because it eats up time in playing the video, and I kind of go back and forth, because I think I actually am going to go back, maybe, and try and get it a second time now. Yeah, that's what I did, isn't it? Okay. See, I'm not quite sure, because I can collect a whole bunch of the heart pieces just off camera in between recordings. It's not difficult at all. However, I'm not sure if that breaks the spirit of the challenge or not, because I'm trying to beat the game before the remake comes out, and that means, well, this is technically just content just for the videos, but it takes up time, so it adds to the challenge factor? I honestly don't know. I'll have to think about that over the course of this challenge or not, because, okay, let's be honest. Going to place the magic beans, that's a small thing. That's a small side thing I could easily do. But getting a heart piece, that's a major achievement in Zelda games. That's something that you want to celebrate, so having that on camera seems important. Oh yeah, and there. Navi finally gives us the hint that we should talk to Sari about the last spiritual stone. We already did that, Navi. You were there for it. There we go. No! Stay out of the deep water! Come back here! No. Alright, it's going in. Alright, now we will proceed, because this is getting a little bit ridiculous. Like I said, the heart pieces aren't going anywhere. I can always come back for them. This dungeon, the dungeons thus far have not been very difficult. Speaking of heart pieces, there's another one. I'm pretty sure I need the cuckoo to get that one as well. Well, we can come back for both of those. Alright. So, that part's the waterfall. Lets us get inside. Which means we can now go see the Zoras. Oh, that little waterway there is another shortcut back to the Lost Woods. There's quite a few secret passages in this game. Ah, the original Zora's domain. Which is kind of small by comparison to the more, and less grand than the more modern ones. Because it's basically just a grotto, essentially. Alright, I need to restock on my rupees after, you know, nearly getting bankrupt by buying magic beans. That is something I probably will cut out in the future, by the way, going to resupply my rupees. I might just do that off camera. Alright, there is a puzzle here I can solve. There's a few puzzles I have to solve, but one that gets me a heart piece, so I'm going to do that one first. So we need a Deku Stick, and we need to go to this torch, light the Deku Stick on fire, and now we need to light all the other braziers, torches, kind of a mix of them, honestly. This one's made of wood, but the other ones are made of metal. There we go. Alright. So to light, not that, that one over there. And now we have to be careful because there's two more behind the waterfall we have to light. We can't roll here. It's tempting to do so to speed this up. But rolling will douse the fire on the Deku Stick. There we go. and this chest appears, which contains a heart piece. It appeared beneath me to force me up. Alright. Heart piece number 3. Yeah, I'm definitely missing a few of those. So we only need one more to get an extra heart container, which is definitely something I'm going to want. I might just go around and... we'll have to see. I could start the next video off going around collecting the heart pieces, I suppose. I haven't gotten thus far. This is actually a relatively big conundrum for me. I'll figure it out. Alright, now we need to do this diving game here because we need an upgrade to our diving ability because we can only hold our breath for like 3 seconds. So he's going to scatter the rupees that we just paid him, plus one more blue rupee, and we have to collect them all. So it's kind of a nice way to also make some small change here. Alright, down we go. One. So we have a little under a minute to get all 5. And the reason we need this is because we need to be able to dive a bit longer to get through another underwater waterway. So we'll see that in a moment. So let's go collect our reward. That waterway there, by the way. The one that we just see there beneath the water there. So we'll need to to enhance our diving ability, which he's going to give us something that helps with that. Because we need to get something from underneath that, that's underwater to progress the storyline here, so we can proceed. Yeah, he liked our dive, so now we get a Zora scale, which will let us dive twice as long underwater. So we get the silver scale, despite the fact that it's definitely blue. There's technically an upgrade to this called the gold scale, which is optional. Which again, increases the amount of time we can be underwater for. It's not really all that important, though. Alright, so we go through the underwater passage here to Lake Hylia. We'll be back here later in the game. We're just going to visit briefly because we need to get this bottle. You might have remembered me making reference to a message in a bottle in a previous Zelda game back when I was doing my Let's Play series for Tears of the Kingdom. This is it. By the way, this is the 3rd bottle in this game, and in all likelihood, it will probably end up being the final one we get. There is a 4th bottle, but it is incredibly difficult to get and really annoying. Considering the fact that Ocarina of Time is not that hard, and I have beaten this game many times, I am probably not going to bother getting it. Alright, so let's read the message in the bottle. Yep, and it says... Oh. Apparently the Zora Princess Ruto has been swallowed by Jabu Jabu, who you might remember from my Echoes of Wisdom Let's Play not too long ago. Why do we have the distinct feeling we have to go back and go inside something again? What are the odds of that happening twice in a row? Well, not twice in a row, but twice. Alright, here. Yeah, she told me not to show this to you, but I think this is important because, well, I need you to get out of my way so I can get back there to where Jabu Jabu is to sort everything out. Wow, he's just causing problems all over the place, isn't he? Of course I'll go find Ruto. Why would I not? It's not like I have anything else to do while I need Yes, thank you for letting me keep the bottle. Okay, and now time to watch him sidle across this waterfall incredibly slowly. So, what do you think? Do you think they're going to fix this in the remake, or do you think they're just going to keep it the same, just in, high definition, so we can really, really appreciate just how lazy this guy is? Wow, that was nearly a minute of that. Alright, we need one more thing before we proceed. And I have to go get a fish for Jabu Jabu, so we can give him an offering since he's a spirit. So we'll have to do that now. Alright, so there's a school of fish that's swimming around just over here. You can also technically buy one, but that's a ripoff, so just catch one here with the bottle. Oh dear! I accidentally cast INSIDE. Are the fish gonna be okay? Okay, apparently the water protects them from it. Yeah, that's gonna probably cause some issues if I keep it on one of the C buttons, because the C stick isn't, sometimes will go in, one of the opposite directions of the buttons. So, yeah, let's just swap it off for the time being, because I don't have a lot of magic power at the moment, so it's a waste. Then again, Ocarina of Time is not quite as good as other games like A Link to the Past for letting you make use of your magic constructively. It's much more limited in that regard in some ways. There's also fewer options for you, really. Because, as you remember, I used magic quite excessively, or some might say, or quite effectively, others might say, in A Link to the Past. However, Ocarina of Time offers less options for it. I mean, INSIDE is powerful, but let's be honest. How many times do you have to incinerate a large group of enemies in this game? Not very often. It's rare that you're outnumbered. It will come in handy, though, as the game progresses, don't worry. So I could go directly to Jabu Jabu now. However, there is something else we can do first. Also, is there magic right here? No. How about here? Nothing but slingshot bullets for some reason. So if we swim over this way, there is... I need bombs for this. There is going to be a... There we go. A small cave area here. So they don't tell you about this one, but honestly I don't know how you're supposed to find out about it, really. But if you bomb this wall, it opens up a cave. And this cave leads into another Great Fairies Fountain. Might as well get this one while we're here too. So, another Zelda's Lullaby. I'm honestly not too sure how you're supposed to find out about this one, because there's no hint for it, but it is here. Alright. I mean, seriously, she's basically wearing nothing and just lying on her side seductively. I'm amazed Nintendo was able to get away with this. Another Great Fairy Magic. She's going to teach you another magic spell. And if you think INSIDE is limited, this one's even more limited use. This one's green, though, at least. Green is a nicer color than red. Thrower's Wind, yet another one of Zelda's spells, and just like in Smash Brothers, it's a teleportation spell. So we can create basically a warp point in dungeons, and then we can use this magic to teleport back there later. This will come in handy in some of the more difficult dungeons to navigate in this game. We can only use it in dungeons that have a dungeon map hidden inside. I'm guessing that's somehow helps the game keep track of it or something? Alright, there we go. That's taken care of. Now we can go see Jabu Jabu. Alright. Brief swim back to the front of this area, and now we can give him our offering, and we'll see where this goes. Unfortunately, I have a bad feeling about this. And I'm sorry for using such a cliched line, but it really does feel a little bit like this is going in the direction of we're going inside another monster or another creature. Okay, yep. Okay. Okay, oh, it's going to just inhale the fish like Kirby. Okay, oh, and in we go. Yep, I knew it. Seriously, what are the odds is happening twice? Inside Jabu Jabu's belly. And believe me, everyone, if you thought the inside of the Deku Tree was weird, this is even weirder. Yeah, we do sometimes get swarmed by enemies here. Also, it's time for basically the swan song for the Deku Shield. Because we need it to reflect these Octa rocks back at them. I mean, technically speaking, I don't have to. I can just go between them. Yeah. Also, yeah, those bubble things will float around and bounce into you. Alright, we need to hit that tonsil? Switch? Whatever it's supposed to be? Yeah, why are there doors? And floating platform, and we're inside a whale or a fish or something. I just keep calling it a leviathan because it seems to fit. We're not quite sure if it is a fish or a whale. And here are the Bari again, remember them? And here's Princess Ruto! Legend of Zelda's first tsundere character. Yes, he did. Never. Wow, she's not just a liar; she's an obstinate liar. Yes. Oh dear. I wish I could, but I cannot leave without the Zora Sapphire. All right, might as well follow after her. Yes, we cannot leave without the Zora Sapphire. Oh, and I guess we can't really technically leave without you either. That seems like it's a really hazardous occupation to go inside a Leviathan. Many times. Yeah, I've noticed the jellyfish. No, it is my business. I specifically need that. No. No, I just need the stone. I'm honestly not that worried about you, Princess. Alright, fine. Alright, we literally have to carry her. That means she is literally dead weight. Welcome to Legend of Zelda's first ever escort mission. And no, for those who are wondering, the fight against Blind, the one escorting Blind and Zelda, I suppose technically escorting Zelda, okay, never mind. Escorting Zelda and Link to the Past counts, sort of. Escorting Blind in Thieves Town in Link to the Past does not count. Besides, neither of them are even remotely as annoying as this. Speaking of annoying, Zed targeting is not my friend in this situation. To add complicate matters even more, I cannot Zed target the actual golden Skulltula, which is what I was trying to target. The bubble interfered with my shot. Alright, then we trip the switch again, raise the water level. I'm serious. We're inside a living thing here. Why is this acting? This is just one of the weirdest ideas for a dungeon ever. The Deku Tree was weird enough. Apparently, wow, that switch does not last very long. No! Ah! Just wasting the time here now. Wow, okay, there we go, finally. Let me know in the comments if you know of a way of easily untargeting something with Zed targeting in this game when there's nothing but targets around you. Because I do not. Ow. At least I dropped a heart. Popped. Alright, we have to go through here. Oh, yet another tonsil switch. Or whatever that's supposed to be. Alright. Octorok, we have to fight this one. You can go through that underwater passage if you want. There's nothing important behind there, really. So. Now we ride this platform back up. Alright, we'll have to go that way eventually, but for the moment, we're heading back the way we came. Alright, so just avoid the holes because they just fall back down to the chamber below us. And all the jellyfish. So we need to go this way, and... Alright, I think I went the wrong way here first. Tried, but because it's easy to get lost in this area. Alright, we need to weigh something, this switch down with something, and the only thing we have is her. So, yeah, this is the wrong way. I got bad news for you, everyone. She does not like us leaving her behind to hold down a switch. I also have other bad news for you. We have to do that again. Ow. These are really annoying. Also, you cannot stand still in this room, by the way. Because the floor, which is some sort of intestine, I think, moves us along. This switch is one that we have to weigh down with something heavier than just us, which is our combined weight, essentially. Alright, so now we leave her here for a brief moment, and we have to fight these stingers, which are basically flying stingrays. I do like the fact that if you hit the wall, the membrane wall here, this whatever organ we're in Jabu Jabu, it vibrates just like a living thing should. That's actually a nice detail. It does kind of make up for the fact that it makes absolutely no sense that we're doing this. I know, I don't care that this is a fantasy game. This still makes zero sense. Alright, now we have a treasure chest. Let's open it up. And now we get the boomerang, which is honestly a really welcome replacement for the slingshot. It's also basically our only weapon that we can use in here effectively against a lot of the enemies in here. Alright, now we need to backtrack to that blue switch. So yes, had I done this in the right order, this would be a lot simpler, but mistakes like that are going to happen. I don't remember the layout of every dungeon by heart in this game. Nope. Alright, there we go. And, alright. Way down the switch again. With all the monsters out here. Alright, we have to attack this red parasitic tentacle. How Navi knows what this thing is beyond. We have to use the boomerang to hit the... There's a narrow section near the top, as you can see as it moves around a little bit. We have to hit out the boomerang a few times to take it out. Once we do... First of all, we get a chest. But the other important thing is each of those tentacles is attached to essentially some sort of electrified membrane in this... inside Jabu Jabu's belly for some reason, and that's blocking our path. Alright, so now we have the map of the internal digestive tract of a Leviathan for some reason. Don't ask me why there's a dungeon map for that. Seriously, I mean, the Deku Tree was weird enough, but this one's even weirder. Also, we're actually inside a living thing. This is kind of almost approaching horror game level dungeons. And now she's gonna yell at us again. Just bear it stoically, Link. Alright, see now this, the red slimy thing is gone. The membrane was here guarding it before, but because we cut off the parasitic temple with our boomerang, we can get through now. Alright, and now we have a time trial to get rid of these bubbles. We can also run into them, by the way, because they also pop if they contact us, but they damage us. See? There we go. And there we go again. This isn't too difficult, and the boomerang really comes in handy here. And by the way, the boomerang is the only weapon as far as I know that damages these things. There we go. Easy. And now we get the compass, I believe. There we go. Alright, let's collect Princess Ruto and continue on. Alright, now we need to take the right passageway again. A lot of back and forth inside here. That one's still sealed. So I have to take this blue intestine track, I guess. Alright, now we have a blue parasitic tentacle that we need to sever. It's supposed to be blue. It kind of looks, it's kind of got a blue coloring, but it's kind of still the same kind of, again, this was the Nintendo 64, it was the 90s. Graphics for this game were not that good. I imagine they'll be a lot better than this. Fortunately, this is pretty straightforward. Alright, now that that's taken care of, we need to backtrack and take the center path now. Where we have to fight yet another one of these things. And don't worry, this is all going to make sense in a moment. There's a couple Bari in here too. Fortunately, the boomerang makes short work of them. Apparently it's Beery? I thought it was Bari. Because, you know, Barinade. It makes sense that they should probably be the same. Maybe was it a typo? That. I'm gonna keep calling them Bari because it sounds better. Alright, this one does look more green. But again, still has that sort of red texture. Alright, so we have to take this one out now, and there's not much more to say. Just hit it with the boomerang 4 times. And try not to get hit by it. There we go. So the reason we needed to kill that one is because, if you remember correctly, there was a green membrane in the central chamber that we met Ruto in that was basically blocking up one of the holes. We now need to go back to the central chamber with all those holes and fall down that specific hole to proceed. And I believe it was this one. Good, it was. I was right. Alright, now we have 2 golden Skulltulas to take out in the same room. That's rare though. That we also now have the boomerang, which makes this far simpler because we can now just Z-target the golden crest and use the boomerang to retrieve it. The boomerang is such a good item in Zelda games. It's a shame that it hasn't really gotten much use in more recent ones. I mean, the boomerang was basically just a standard weapon in both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I think the last time the boomerang even showed up as an effective weapon in a main console Zelda game was Twilight Princess. It definitely showed up in A Link Between Worlds, though, so I would count that one as well. Alright. Oh, look! It's the, it's the Zora Sapphire that we need. Alright, so let's toss her up there so she can grab it. And hooray! Princess Ruto got the Zora Sapphire. Wait, we need that! No, we need that! Okay. Well, I guess we can leave now and sort out who gets the Sapphire later. Yeah, that kind of happened to us too, by the way. Yeah, okay. She really does need to learn some manners. Oh dear. An octopus? Wait, what's going on? Oh dear. That's not a good sign. Okay, surprise mini-boss! Alright, so here we have the big Octo. And we have to attack it from behind with the boomerang to stun it. This mini-boss has a really annoying mechanic, though. Basically, due to the nature of this room and how fast it swims about in here, it is more efficient to let it hit you and take damage than it is to chase after it. There we go. This kind of gets annoying because it means you're just taking damage for no apparent reason, but it does slow down an act. Oh, great. I need to hit one more time. It will eventually turn around, especially as you see there. It starts to turn. There you go. So we have to get hit, unfortunately, so we can hit it back and stun it and take it out. It's not very difficult, but it's kind of annoying. And I think Nintendo knew it was annoying, because that's why they give you a whole bunch of hearts afterwards. Like, well, we know they're going to take a whole bunch of damage. We might as well heal them up afterwards. Alright, so now we take this elevator up, I guess. Take out the Bari with the boomerang. And now we have to go and find Princess Ruto, because, well, she has the Sapphire we need. Great. Well, at least we don't have to carry her around anymore. I have a feeling that Ruto's role might get updated in the remake, because I get the distinct feeling that the attitude of carrying around, admittedly a young girl, is probably not an attitude that is going to fly in modern times. I honestly do hope it kind of gets updated, because, well, even if you don't take the fact that literally carrying around like an object, it's just not very fun gameplay, and it would be interesting to change that. Unfortunately, I imagine there's a whole bunch of people who would get really upset if they did change that. Personally, I don't care either way. Because, honestly, I mean, I'm doing it now. So, it's not that big of a deal to me, but still, I would prefer that they maybe change it just to the fact that it might give her a slightly more interesting arc. In this dungeon. Alright, there we go. Not much left of this dungeon, as you can see by that skull on the map. Alright, we have to take out these Bari still with the boomerang. I know I refuse to change the name to Biri. Bari sounds better to me. Besides, it's Bari Nade is the boss fight that is coming up. Yeah, I remember I mentioned in Echoes of Wisdom that Bari Nade is another one of those boss fights that shows up in Ocarina of Time. I did realize that when I decided I was going to start playing these games back to back, it was going to create some interesting ideas. Yep. The boomerang just went through this entire structure. There we go. Alright. Another gold skull jeweler. I could have just climbed up to get that one, I suppose. Well, I've already got the wallet upgrade, which means I'm well on my way to getting the next one, which I think is the Stone of Agony at 20. Anyway, it's not really all that important. Alright, now we need to hit this tonsil switch with the boomerang through this, I think it's webbing? Don't ask me why there's webs in here. There are spiders, I suppose. Alright, there we go. And get ready for a boss fight. It's not very often that you go from fighting a mini-boss to fighting the actual boss of the dungeon, but we do in this case. Alright, oh, no wonder this thing's in a bad mood. It's got something in the center of its stomach literally feeding off of it. Bioelectric enemy, Bari Nade. You may remember Bari Nade again, as I mentioned, from Echoes of Wisdom. Looks a bit different this time, but it is essentially the same sort of fight. Oh yeah, it shoots lightning bolts at us from those satellite dishes things attached to it. Those emitters, I guess. Alright, we need to sever these tendrils with the boomerang, which will set it spinning, and oh, come on! I'm going to cast Din's Fire again, which I'm pretty sure these things are immune to. Alright, now we need to hit Bari Nade itself with the boomerang to stun it, and which will sever the electrical connections between the jellyfish and the main body. Apparently they don't have a limit on. I guess giving it more than one kind of tattle entry is kind of pointless. Finish it off with boomerang. Okay, it's gonna start spinning again. We need to sever the electrical connections before we destroy the jellyfish. I'm positive when I was playing Echoes of Wisdom, it was Bari, not Barry. I remember I had the Echo, I'm pretty sure. No, I'm not so sure. It makes sense as Bari being Bari, huh? I've never heard it called Beery. I just usually called them jellyfish when I was younger, so I don't know. Alright, managed to hit both of them. Oh yeah, it's gonna start shooting again at us now. And it is trying to protect us, basically. It's armor for all intents and purposes. There we go. No more jellyfish. It's gonna keep shooting lightning bolts at us. And now we need to stun with the boomerang, and now it's a simple matter of attacking with the sword until it sinks down to the ground again and try and avoid getting hit with lightning. Yeah, the Deco Shield, despite being made of wood, doesn't block lightning bolts. I'm afraid that's not how this works. Honestly, the Deco Shield will probably incinerate from that. Lightning is really hot. If you've never seen it, if you've seen a tree explode or being hit by struck by lightning, you know what I'm talking about. Fortunately, Barring 8 isn't too much tougher than the other bosses we've taken out so far. It's another one that's done in only a couple minutes. There we go! Popped like a balloon. Another heart container. There we go. And there's the wayward princess we had to find. You're useless. I just saved you from that thing. This is where the Tsundere act really starts to get into its, fulfillment arc, where it's no longer just her, being annoyed at us and angry with us. Now it's actually hitting the dere part of it, if you know what Tsundere means. I assume most of you do. If you don't, you can easily look it up on Google. It's a very common anime term that's used these days. Basically, it means she's warming up to us. Still has to give us backhanded compliments. Good! We kinda need the Sapphire. Yes, the Spiritual Stone of Water. The Zora Sapphire. Yes, we need that. Oh, okay. How many girls is Link going to end up getting engaged to in this game? That's the second marriage proposal he's been given. Yeah, anyway, the good news is, hey, blue, I like blue. We can get the Zora Sapphire. I guess technically that also means Link is engaged to a princess. Not Princess Zelda either. Alright, we now have the Zora Sapphire. That means that we now have all three of the spiritual stones we need. And yeah, we're not quite sure Link's not quite sure what she means by most prized possession or engagement ring, but you know what? We'll cross that bridge later. Do not tell my father. What? Tell him the fact that you promised your hand in marriage to a 10-year-old boy you just met? Yeah, I think we'll be not telling anyone about that, really. Alright, and with that, we have the 3 spiritual stones we need. Which means we can head back to Hyrule Castle. And let Zelda know that the mission's complete as far as we're concerned. I mean, that's what we set out to do. Get the 3 spiritual stones. Now we just have to somehow keep Ganondorf from getting his hands on... I mean, we can just take the spiritual stones and hide them somewhere. Alright. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting that heart piece without... yeah, I can't get that part. Need a cuckoo for that. Alright. I'll take the shortcut in the river back. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we switched back to the Highland shield because we don't really need the Deku shield anymore. Alright, so I cannot climb up there, unfortunately. And Navi's going to inform us that now that we have the 3 spiritual stones, we can go see Zelda. Yes, I know, Navi. Alright. But first, I want to at least get one of the heart pieces here. Because it will get me a new heart container. That's nice going forward, because the game does start to get more difficult now. Or more accurately, in a bit. Because we're almost at the end of this 2-hour mark for this video. I probably could have broken this up into hour segments and it worked perfectly fine. But I was concerned about getting the game done in time. Because bear in mind, had I done this in hour segments, as opposed to this being chapter 2 we're on currently, it would be chapter 4. And that would mean a month would have gone by in this already. I wanted to try and get this done before October. So I think the 2-hour segments are going to work best. Alright, that can go away now. We need to climb up here. And now there will be essentially another cuckoo up here. We need to grab it. Grab it. No, grab it. Alright. Then it's just a simple matter of crossing this little narrow passageway here, and this little bridge. Like this is a stick. And now we just need to land on the platform. No, I think it's overshot. Nope. Oh, I undershot too. Oh dear. Alright. Well, that's what we have to do to get that heart piece. I also think we can technically use one of the magic beans to get it later, but it's not important. We'll just do it now. Honestly, I think this is an easier trek with just this cuckoo. Alright, there you go. Go fall in the water and meet me back up there. There you go. Drops back into reality. Alright. Let's give this another try. And yes, I landed on it. There you go. There we go. 4 heart pieces. There we go. I now have 7 hearts. Incredible. I'd have way more at this point if this were, I mean, Link to the Past or almost any other Zelda game, really. Ocarina of Time it's a bit more of a linear game in a lot of ways, so they're a bit stingier, and the positioning for heart pieces is not as friendly as I would like. Maybe that'll change in the remake. I can see them changing heart piece locations, actually. That would actually shake up the the route you can take through the game a little bit. That actually might be nice. And there's some other item placements that they can change. Definitely. I mean, the ice arrows are basically at the end of this game for all intents and purposes, and you get them, and you're like, oh, it would have been really nice to have these a long time before this, and we don't. They definitely corrected a lot of that in Majora's Mask. Well, Majora's Mask is also less linear, so it's also nice. I'll play that at some point, but first, let's go back to Hyrule Castle. Wait a minute, it's the day and the drawbridge is up. How do we... Oh, cutscene. Alright. And now it's a dark and stormy... Well, day, I suppose, not night. Oh, it's kind of going night. And now we get to see the foreshadowing, well, the results of foreshadowing from our little prophetic dream, or was it the Great Deco Trees? Well, I think it was meant to be ours. Because we were supposed to be having a nightmare. Yeah, remember this cutscene from earlier? You nearly ran us over, Impa. Oh, okay. That's something important we're gonna need. And turn around and... oh look, Ganondorf is there. Well, one major difference in the dream and reality is we're armed now. We're armed with a tiny little dagger. Actually, I swear his face looks even weirder from the front. Yeah, I mean, honestly, just it's like I guess it kind of does, but it's like it really comes forward quite a bit when you see it from the side. Those ears too are massive. Uh-oh. Oh right, he's an evil wizard. Okay, he just Eldritch blasted a 10-year-old aside. We know exactly who we're dealing with. Oh, hang on to that confidence, because it's not going to last. Alright, well. That kind of changes our plans a bit. Because now we can't really meet up with Zelda after this. After that. Alright. Time to jump in this moat. And grab the Ocarina of Time. And show a complete disregard for Saria and our years of friendship and everything she means to us by just tossing her ocarina in the garbage. Sorry, Saria, we've gotten another girl, an ocarina from a different girl now we're going to hang out to for the rest of the game. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't really, when you actually think about what that stands for, it's probably not the best idea, is it? Alright, Zelda's going to send us, apparently, some sort of, mental message via psychometry in the, Ocarina of Time. So now that we have the Ocarina of Time, she's also going to teach us this melody. This song opens the door of time. And now we learn the Song of Time. Probably the most important song we learn on the Ocarina in this game and Majora's Mask, because it's one that carries over. So we now have to hurry to the Temple of Time. And, yeah, play this melody in front of the altar in the Temple of Time, and somehow protect the Triforce in doing so. Also, apparently we've been magically teleported back on land and we're dry. Alright. Let's head towards the Temple of Time now. Hurry. But first, priorities. Let's restock my wallet a little bit. I think I do a little bit here because I considered doing it, but I realize it's probably going to take a little while, and I do want to get this done in the hour mark. Oh yeah, the boomerang is required to smash those pots, by the way. Alright, yeah, so as you can see, I do this a little bit here, but I stop because I'm getting close to the 2-hour mark. Also, the fact it's kind of... I mean, I am pretty close to just having a full wallet anyway. I think I just do it once, and then I leave. There we go. Alright, so now let's head to the Temple of Time. Alright, the first thing, actually before that, one thing I do want to pick up is because now I have a third bottle, and I have the magic witness point, it makes sense to carry a green potion with me from now on. And since it's only 30 rupees, and this is not an item I can easily get any other way, it's worth the cost. I can get fairies and I can get milk really easily without spending money, but the green potion is kind of the only thing I need to get from these potion shops. Alright, there is something else I could show you before we go, but I want to go to the Temple of Time, and because I think it's going to be a nice little cliffhanger, if you will, for us to wrap this video up in front of the Door of Time. That being said, there's probably a bunch of other things I'm going to want to do before we go through that door, because, slight spoiler warning, as soon as we step through that door, the entire game is going to change. So we'll be covering that next time. This also makes this a nice stopping point, because from here on out, there's going to be a lot of stuff happening after this. A few cutscenes and quite a bit of exposition that I don't want to tack on at the end of this video. So, we'll pick up next time. I might do some other stuff before we go through that door, like I said, but thank you for watching, everyone. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and please join us here again next time as we will play the Song of Time, place the 3 spiritual stones on their pedestals, go through the Door of Time to see what's on the other side, and in doing so, set in course, set in progress, a series of events that will change the world as we know it. I won't give anything away because I want everyone to experience it for the first time. But until then, goodbye, everyone.